This day has come, and today I received my own exclusive leaks for part 2 of episode 70. And I want to say right away that this is not clickbait, and these leaks are real, which Boom shared with me personally, as it happened before with Elite Cameraman. And these leaks are crazy, and based on them, we already know exactly how the new episode will begin, and we can predict what will happen next. And we will also talk about the release date of the new episode. And Mr. Boom also shared with me information about the new episode and how many parts there will be. In this video, you will get very cool information, so be sure to watch to the end. Also be sure to subscribe to my channel because there are almost 700,000 of us on the channel, and 70% of the viewers watch me without a subscription, and I think that we can reduce this number to 65%. Hello friends, you're on the Dattebayo channel. Subscribe to the channel and press the like button under the video to speed up the release of the next video. And let's go. As we all know that part 1 of episode 70 was the most legendary at this point, and we still have a lot of questions left, such as, what will happen in the next episode and how will it begin? And in this video, you will get a lot of information and my theories about the next episode. And let's move on to the first leaked frame. In this leaked frame, we see a dark assassin who asks for help from POV Plunger cameraman. And this is just crazy. And do you remember how the dark assassin sacrificed the twins in episode 69? And how Plunger cameraman reacted to this? And I have already said many times in my video that it is possible that there will be such a situation that the Plunger cameraman will not help the dark assassin because of that incident. And I also said that we should expect more losses among the squad of agents, and this will probably be confirmed. But in fact, this leaked frame does not tell us about the death of the speaker man, and as we know, that leaked frame is always very confusing and everything seems to become obvious. But in fact, in the episode, everything will be different. And let's analyze the details that we see here. Based on this place, we can say that the agents got out of the elevator in which they were at the end of episode 70, since from behind we see an abyss. And it seems that this elevator fell down, but at the last moment, the agents were able to get out into the corridor, or now they are on the elevator itself is from above, since in the past we saw that someone tried to punch a hole in the elevator from above. And here is the two option who could have done this. The first option is that it was a skibiditoilets, but the agents were able to kill them with the help of their guns. And through this hole in the ceiling, they were able to get out, but the speaker man needed help to get out of there. And the second option is that the agents who entered the laboratory in episode 69 reached this elevator, and they are the ones who are trying to pull the squad out of this elevator and also punched a hole in the ceiling, and the speaker man asks for help to get out of there. And the third option, and for me the most likely, is that the agents were able to break down the elevator doors and get out into the corridor, because we saw the physical strength of the Plunger cameraman who hit the wall. And it seems to me that together with the dark assassin, there would be no problem breaking down the elevator door. But in this moment, skibiditoilets who tried to get inside hit the ceiling so hard that the elevator could not stand it and flew down. And the speaker at the last moment was able to grab onto this beam. And this seems the most likely option since here we see sparks. And it seems to me that due to the many blows, the elevator fell down, and usually such sparks happen in situations when the elevator falls down at great speed. Of course, these are all just theory, and in fact, everything could be different. And this beam that the speakerman grabbed does not look like the floor that is in the corridor, but also write your versions in the comments. But the main question is whether the Plunger cameraman will help the dark assassin, or will he sacrifice him like speakerman did with the twins? And here I also have two options. If we see sparks here, then perhaps it is at this moment that the toilets are attacking the agents, and the agents have very little time to get out of there. And perhaps due to lack of time, Plunger cameraman will also sacrifice the speaker man. But to be honest, I don't think so, and that's why I have another option. And in this option, I'm very confident, and I think that the Plunger cameraman will definitely help the speaker man, since what he did with the twins, it was necessary. And if he had not done this, then everything would have been in vain and Michael Jackson would have torn everyone apart. And we understand that the Plunger cameraman is very emotional and he didn't hit the speaker man with malice intent, but was simply out of emotion, as we saw after a second that everything was already fine and they weren't arguing. And perhaps at that moment the elevator falls down because we see sparks and the dark assassin helped everyone get out since he is the largest in size, and in the end he tried to get out himself, but the elevator was already began to fall and he managed to grab this beam, and then the Plunger cameraman will help him. Anyways, I am sure that he will not die at this very moment. But perhaps we will lose some of the agents not much later, and the agents will successfully get out of this elevator, and you will understand this in a second in the next leaked frame. And this leak already gives us a lot of clues. And pay attention to this place in which this cameraman is located. And this is definitely not the elevator in which the agents were. And on the right, we can see the doors the same as those at the beginning of this laboratory in part 4 of episode 67. And this means that the agents managed to get out of the elevator, and I also think that the dark assassin also survived, and he with them. And here we can see a strange round window that usually on underwater ships. But it's hard to believe that the agents are now underwater. But still, this is a very strange window. But the most interesting detail is that the lucky guy is holding a very strange book in his hands. And I immediately remembered Skibidi Multiverse from Dom Studio, because there were similar books, but about the Skibidi apocalypse. And in the multiverse, YouTubers collect and destroy these books because there is very important information about plans for skibidi toilets. And is it possible that a similar book also appeared in Skibidi Toilet? Actually, no, I'm sure it's something else, and I also have 3 options for what kind of book it is. The first option is that there are Skibidi entries here how the Skibidi scientists conducted experiments on Skibidi toilets, cameramen and people, and crossed them all into one mutant. And this option is very true, because even in the movies and in real life, scientists write in notebooks about their research and experiments. But still, I am more inclined to the following options. And the second option is that this is the diary of cameramen who were captured by toilets throughout the series. So, as we have already seen a hybrid skibidi toilet which is made from the body of a cameraman and a skibidi toilet, because the paralyzing ray did not affect it. And also, at the beginning of episode 69, we saw 2 bodies of a cameraman in a funny pose. But we know that they shouldn't be there because in the episode we saw how many agents went inside the laboratory. And this means that these bodies were here before and they were held captive and experimented on. And one of the cameramen was able to somehow get a book and made notes in it. But to be honest, this already sounds like fantasy, and I am very confident in the third option. And the third option is the most plausible for me, and I think that this is the diary of a scientist. But not a skibidi scientist, but a human scientist. Since I told you many times that this was a military base of people, and at the same time it was a laboratory in which people also conducted experiments on skibidi toilets, and how to fight them, and how to destroy this infection. And at the beginning of episode 70, we saw the body of a soldier who lay there not for very long, since we clearly see blood on the ground. And if he lay there for a long time, then the blood would have already soaked into the ground. And also another burnt soldier died in the car. And Boom already in episode 69 hinted at people when we saw human skeletons, and also the skeleton of a scientist, and I think that this is a scientist diary in which he wrote down all his research. And I think that it was like this. Today it's been 3 days since skibidi toilets are trying to get into our base. We have almost no supplies left and most of the soldiers have died. And now the toilets are almost broke through the main door, and this is probably the end for us. We could not find a way to defeat this infection, and this is where the entry in the diary ends. It all sounds crazy, but this is usually how it is written in diaries from games and movies. And it seems to me that there will be a lot of hints on how to defeat these toilets, and we will learn more about people. And I even think that maybe we will see people in this or the next part. But as always, these are my crazy theories, but be sure to write what you think about it in the comments. And let's move on to the additional information that I received from Mr. Boom. And I thought that there would be 4 parts of episode 70, but in fact, Mr. Boom told me that there would only be 3 parts. And he also added that part 2 will be shorter than part 1, and there will be a little less action than in part 1. But this episode will be no less interesting than the first part. But when will the new episode be released? I did not receive exact information, but I can say that the second part should be released faster than part 1. 5 days have already passed since the release of the first part. So personally, I think that part 2 will be released within 3 or a maximum of 5 days from the release of this video. And I also want to add that I don't have any more leaked frames, and Boom shared only 2 leaked frames, since part 2 of episode 70 should come out faster than part 1. And we'll probably get more leaks, but in Dafuq's store or Instagram or in his Discord. And be sure to subscribe to my channel and join the Discord, because if some information appears, I will definitely make a video about it or a post on Discord. And if you enjoyed watching it, be sure that you clicked the like button and you were on the Dattebayo channel, and see you.